Hello my friends, I am Mahdi with another part of HTML training with you web design enthusiasts. The last topic of HTML is forms. What are forms in HTML? We use forms to receive information in the web world. Now what does receiving information mean? Suppose you want to register on a site. You need to enter some information to be able to register. For example, such as name, last name, email address, and a series of other information. We receive this information by forms. For example, if we want to log in or sign into a site, we receive personal information through forms. Three of the most important elements in the forms are the form element, input element, and label element. Also, there are other elements that we will start with these three elements for now. Friends, when we want to have a form on the page, we use the form element like this. We write the open and close tag of the form and the rest of the necessary items. The input element is the same thing like first name, last name, which we have to receive from the user. The information that we need to receive from user is called input. Now these have different types. For example, if we are going to receive a name, the input type is text because the user has to enter the text. Or if we are going to receive the user's phone number, he or she should enter numbers. Or if we are going to receive a password, then again we have to enter a text in a circle or a star. If someone is near us, they will not find out our password. This type specifies the type of our input. If we are going to enter our name, we will set its type equal to the text. If we are going to enter our password, we will set it types equal to password, and for example, if we are going to enter email address, we will set its type equal to email. Another attribute that has inputs is ID, which is used is connection with label. And another attribute that has input is name. What is its use? See, when user has name and the submit button is pressed, this information goes to the database and is registered there. This name attribute is used there when the user information is sent to the server. And it has another attribute called value, which I explained in the code. Input is an empty element, which means it doesn't have a closed tag. And the next element is label. Label element which has an attribute called form. Guys, enter VS Code to code a simple form together. Guys, we are in the 16th session and I made a file called form.html. In this session, we want to create a form to receive information from the user. First, we write the open and end tag of the form. And in the middle, we write the input we want. We put an input by typing text. Here, we can write a text like first name or last name. My first name is Mahdi. I can write my first name Mahdi. We put other input element which type is text too. Now it's not clear whether we should get the name in the first one or the second one. So here we use labels. Consider the first input is supposed to receive the usernames. So we put a label element here. And write the name in the middle of the tag. I put a BR tag to be placed in the next line of the input. We put the label and BR and write the last name for this input. Write the BR tag here and label. I write the last name here, also BR tag here. Now we write another input by typing password. Before that I write a label. Now we have a form where we can get the name, surname and a password from the user. Here when we use the input type equal to the password, it causes a difference with the two upper inputs. The upper inputs are text, this one and that one. But look here, if we type something in the input which is password, it will be displayed in the circle. If someone is sitting next to me, he or she cannot see what I wrote. Types determine the type of input that we are going to get from the user, whether it's an email, text, number, password or something else. Now when we click on this name, nothing special happens. We must click on the input to focus on the input. We want that if the label is clicked, it will focus on the input and we can start typing. Here we use 4 attributes for the label to say which is the input. For example, I write fname here. Now we give exactly what we put as the ID for the input to the 4 inside the label. I write the ID, which is the same with the 4 in the label. That is, this label is for this input. This label is for this input, which its ID is fname. This causes the input to be focused when we click on the label for the first name. Look, it's not like that for the next ones. When I click on the last name, it's not focused on this field. But when I click on the first name, it's focused on the input. When we click on the last name or password, the focus is not on their inputs. We do this for 2 inputs in a similar way. I write here last name, L name, and I give the LID to input, and for the password, when I focus on the first name, it's focused on the input or last name or password. Guys, these names are optional. We can choose any other name you want for its ID. We do the same for the password. This is usage of for and ID in input and label. The inputs have another attribute called value, which for showing the default value for input. The inputs have another attribute called value, which for showing the default value for inputs. For example, I write here value equal Mahdiya. You can see here default Mahdiya is a default for in this input. We put another input which we type as a submit. It's for sending user information. We completed the form and wrote the name, last name, password. Now we click on submit form or register it. I write here input as a submit. Inputs send the information to the server by its type submit and processes the desired method. For example, it checks the email. If it was a duplicate email and it was already registered, it declares the email is a duplicated and enter another email. Guys, code this thing that I said in this session and practice to master the whole subject. Please support me with like and comment and share the video to friends who are interested in learning web design in simple and easy way. Have a nice day. Bye bye.